Well, there are 35 blood group systems organized by our genetic structure to carry the information that produces antigens. Antigens are molecules that produce an immune response, so when a foreign substance or toxin enters our system, antigens tell our bodies to attack them. Within the Rh system, there are 61 antigens, with the D antigen determining whether one is Rh positive or Rh negative. This antigen is a sensitive protein that exists on the surface of red blood cells and can react negatively if it comes in contact with Rh positive blood. The Rh theory is a fascinating one. Are people with Rh negative blood descendants of the gods? That's a fascinating theory, and one Melisa Kennedy is about to join us and talk about. Hello, Melisa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Well, I guess the first question is, does Rh negative blood type people have extraterrestrial lineage?
Well, that's a really good question, and that's one that I've been studying myself for the last 25 years. As someone with Rh negative blood myself, I can speak to you firsthand what my experiences have been with my pregnancy, with a lot of unusual circumstances that's happened to me. And it has really led me to research the Rh negative blood type and the origins. A lot of theories out there about where the origins are.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what are some characteristics that are exclusive to the Rh negative blood type? So, do you want me to just go ahead and dive
Yeah, I
in?
mean,
And
if you don't mind relaying some of your experiences.
sure, absolutely. Well, back when I was 21 years old, I lived out in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got pregnant for the first time. My husband and I were expecting a child, and I did not know at that time anything really about Rh negative blood and how it affects a woman's pregnancy. So I got a really crash course on Rh negative and really and truly why it is detrimental to a child, to a fetus, real quick. And so when I went through, my checkup, like you normally do when you first find out that you're pregnant, they tell me that since I'm Rh negative and I was carrying a Rh positive baby, I needed to have medical intervention to allow this pregnancy to go to term. Well, let's just stop right there for a second. Why would we need medical intervention
Mm-hmm.
for, quote, the same species to mate and reproduce? That, in and of itself, is really one that you have to question as to why can't we reproduce without medical intervention. And if I hadn't done that, I was told that my blood would become toxic to the fetus and therefore ending in a fatal situation. And so you have to go through the ROGAM. It's called ROGAM. It's a shot that they give you. And you have to do that. Otherwise, your child's in jeopardy and you're not going to carry full term. So I did reluctantly. I'm not really one for vaccines and shots and
Yep.
things like that. I really try to live as natural of a life as I can, and try to control those type of things in my life. But I obviously, admitted to giving permission for them to do that. So I did, and my pregnancy actually at that time really took a lot of unusual turns and twists and things. And I won't go into too many details because it may or may not be related to the Rh negative part. But I will tell you that I did start to develop a lot of the symptoms that a woman would have in her third trimester. I got unusually large. I
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of unusual symptoms in my first trimester that I should not have had. So much so that I ended up going back to the doctors. And when they did my ultrasound, they were like, well, Melisa, for one thing, the fetus is a lot larger than it should be at this particular stage of the pregnancy. Second of all, it's growing in the wrong place.
Wow.
Yeah, not something you really want to hear. So I'm like, okay, so how is it able to grow if it's not in the right place? And why is it growing so large and so quickly? Well, I really wasn't given a satisfactory answer. I was put under so that they could remove the fetus because it was detrimental to my health, and they were afraid of internal bleeding, rupturing, and things like that. So unfortunately, I lost that child, and did have to go through, an operation for that to be removed and everything. Well, ironically, that was also the same week that the Phoenix Lights happened. And
Wow.
anybody that knows about the Phoenix Lights, I actually was an eyewitness to the Phoenix Lights, which happened 3 days after my incident.
Yep.
I later found out from, and I don't know, did you interview Dr. Lynn Katai from
No,
Phoenix?
no.
Okay. Well, she later told me, and I actually have found out from several people that where I was teaching on an Indian reservation at the time in Phoenix, and I found out that the Indian reservation that I was at, and I had a lot of really unusual paranormal type experiences there, is a known alien portal. So now I have to ask myself, was I pregnant naturally, or
Hmm.
could it have been something else? I may never know. I probably won't ever know unless I go under some sort of hypnosis or something, which actually I would like to do. But I do remember, and even my own mother was kind of going back over this period of my time with me. She said, Melissa, I remember when you told me that you were pregnant, how shocked you were. And my husband at the time actually was very shocked too, because we weren't trying to get pregnant, and we had birth control. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you kind of start to question. And then the whole Rh negative thing is another element to that. So I don't know. I can tell you that through my own experiences, it is definitely something that a mother has to go through in order to carry to term. I was fortunate enough in 2001 to have a child, and my daughter is wonderful. She's 18 years old,
Hmm.
and she's in college, and she's great, but she's Rh positive. Did not inherit my Rh negative. In fact, what I have found through my research is oftentimes the Rh negative gene is actually inherited through the father's side, which is what happened with me. My dad is Rh negative, and that's where I got mine. So my family, my particular family bloodline, the Rh negative just stopped with me. My daughter does not have Rh positive, or she has Rh positive, not Rh negative.
Yeah.
Um, I have like 3 or 4 other really good friends that are also Rh negative, and none of them had children, or if they did, they were positive. So I'm going to lead up to kind of this next little
Yeah.
question,
Yep.
if you don't mind. And that is, for years, scientists have said that Rh negative makes up about, 15% of the population. Well, that's kind of old data, because when I've been doing my research, and I've been doing it up until this week, I mean, I do it, modern here in recent times, that number that I have found is more like 10%,
Yeah.
maybe even 9%, because it's dwindling. And just in my own little circle of friends and contacts that I have, I mean, none of us carried on the Rh negative gene. So that makes you wonder, what's
Yep.
happening. I mean, it's not the dominant trait. So that number is going to continually go down.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
have you heard about like the Basque region?
In
How
France, there's about
Right.
40% of the population are Rh negative.
Yes, that number's gone down closer to 30 now. And so my point, I guess, is that it is dwindling. And people like myself that are trying to get the answers and trying to seek the truth as to where the origins come from, what are the characteristics, why? Why are we different? If you
That,
just look at basic science, and this doesn't have to be complicated, but if you just look at basic science, when you have two species that may or may not are supposed to mate, then they typically have problems reproducing. Well, then that begs the question, so when you have an Rh negative mother with an Rh positive father,
hmm.
and they have an offspring, there's complications. And
Yeah.
why? I don't think it's because it's a mutation. I think it's because there's something more to the story.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to research. I'm
Yeah.
trying to find
Yeah.
the answer.